I'm really delighted to be launching this new edition of the Good Practice Guidelines, which is the fundamental backbone of good specialist practice for domestic and family violence services in New South Wales.
I am thrilled that we're launching the second edition of this Good Practice Guidelines. It's been a number of years now since the first in 2017, and I think we've had so much input this time around, and we've really improved the standards and the principles throughout. Consultations were really important for us with lived expertise, advocates, with services, with members, with research bodies, with our multicultural partners and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander steering committee. So really pleased that this time around we've got a really strong edition of the Good Practice Guidelines.
I'm really excited about the second edition of the Good Practice Guidelines because it's really based on improving practice and building the workforce.
So version 1 of the Good Practice Guidelines was created in 2016, and since then we've reviewed them with our partners at the university to see what worked, what didn't work, what needed to be improved, and we've gone back to the sector to ask everyone's feedback on what needed to be improved or done. And some of the things that have changed, there's a stronger focus on intersectionality. We've also separated the principles into what's necessary for services and what's necessary for individual workers, so that it's a bit clearer who can do what pieces of work.
It feels a lot more nuanced, and there is a lot more of a deeper dive into the complexity of DFE, and also thinking about how those of us working in this sector should be responding to clients. And I think that could provide some really good guidance in terms of continuous improvement or the development of our employees in this sector.
It's really important that the Good Practice Guidelines have intersectionality included, and ACON's really glad that we got to collaborate on that with DV New South Wales and everyone else involved.
And I'm really particularly excited about the intersectional focus, specifically around multicultural and multi-faith communities.
Cultural safety is critical because we know that domestic violence and abuse affects everyone. Black, white, rich, poor. But what we do know is that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women are less likely to come forward, but over 30 times more likely to be hospitalised from violence and abuse. We create a space that we believe is safe, where cultural identity is not just tolerated, but we want to celebrate the First Nations people of this land in the centre.
As a person with lived disability experience, I think it's very important that guidelines represent whole community. When a document reflects the hearts and minds of the society that it's intended for, you're able to provide good service because you've got good guidance through the document.
The idea of building trust and making sure that there is a black and white bottom line of what we're doing as a service, what we're providing, what the client can expect, and how we're going to deliver that consistently and fairly across the board is really essential.
At the end of the day, we're all human, and if you have, personal prejudices, personal opinions, they need to be left at the door before you come to work for service provision. You need to treat everyone with empathy, compassion and understanding, lead with kindness.
It really puts the survivor or the victim at the very centre of everything that they're doing.
When we see children as people, we'll see them as victim survivors in their own right, and we'll hear stories that they are cohesively controlled. DV perpetration or choice to use violence is a parenting choice too. You can't be a good dad and be a perpetrator of domestic violence because your children are in the home as well.
It's a handbook for people to look at and make sure that they continually remain client-centred, the understanding of confidentiality, that integrated support.
Use them, definitely use them.
Use them, utilise them, develop them, integrate them, make sure that they're every part of what you're doing.
These guidelines form an amazing framework for you to develop your practice and for individuals within your services to give a really developed understanding of domestic and family violence to the victim survivors that you work with. It's great for quality assurance, it's a terrific tool, and it can really help ground practice within a systemic understanding of gendered violence.